everybody, how are you? How is your day? I apologize for being a couple minutes late. I had my husband fix my tripod the other day, and then I was having technical difficulties setting it up just now. So, today we are talking all about the third and final challenge when it comes to your sugar cravings. I'm just trying to adjust this because this is irritating me slightly. Hold on one second. Adjusting. Okay. So today, that's better. Today we're talking about the third and final challenge when it comes to your sugar cravings or your food cravings, and why it is so much easier to eat our emotions than it is to deal with what's really going on. Because I don't know about you, but I'm somebody who I used to be an emotional eater. There are still some situations that get the best of me, especially when I've been working a lot. Like last night I worked. Hi. So I'm here like this. Hey Amy, how are you? Thanks for saying hi. So I definitely used to be an emotional eater, and I used to eat my emotions as a way to feel like I was in control of something in my life. And that truly, from my personal experience and from things I see all the time, not just with clients, but from coworkers at the hospital, from patients at the hospital, from friends and family, and again, from personal experience, it is so much easier to feel upset or frustrated or be worried about something or stressed out or mad or even happy or celebrating. Like any emotion, you can literally justify eating food to deal with that emotion. And that's where I used to fall in the trap of a lot of things. Through nursing school, through my first pregnancy, I got a lot better about this when I was pregnant with my son. The day of series of follies, otherwise doing well. Yes. It's just so much easier to manage our emotions than to deal with what's really going on at the root cause of whatever the situation is in our life, of whatever the truth thing is that's causing the feelings or causing the upset or the turmoil or whatever it is. It's easier to turn to food, whether it's sugar, whether it's comfort foods. It doesn't matter what the food is, or alcohol or drugs, anything. It's easier to lean on those things that gave us those moments of feeling better, of feeling like we are in control. Because even though after we do the thing, even though after we're triggered and then we eat the food, or you fill in the blank after you do the thing, we feel good for a little bit, right? Because we're like, you know what? We got that release of those feel-good chemicals. So we feel good, and it makes sense. And it also lets us feel like we're in control when so many things in our life can feel like they're out of control, especially right now with all this stuff going on in the world. There's so much stuff there's so much uncertainty, and humans don't like uncertainty. The brain does not like it. It freaks out. It doesn't know what to expect. It doesn't know what is coming next. And it knows that the only thing it can control is if you don't effectively and healthily manage your emotions and your mental health, your emotional health. So as you're having these emotional triggers, you start to eat these things, right? But before you even eat the thing, you're triggered by something. You're triggered and then you react. The reaction is you taking a drink, taking a hit of something, putting something in your mouth and eating it, lashing out at somebody. That's the reaction. And that's easier to deal with in the moment. That uncomfortable feeling, the upset feeling you have with yourself afterwards, is easier to deal with than dealing with what is really going on. Because sometimes it looks like having a really hard conversation. Oops. Sometimes that looks like having a hard conversation with somebody. Maybe you have to confront a family member or your spouse or a coworker or your boss, and that's hard and it's scary because you can't control how the other person reacts. And then we also fall into this mode of wanting to people please, and then we start to get worried about what the other people are going to think. Are they going to judge us? Are they going to take this the wrong way? It's scary. And then our brain starts to tell us all these silly stories that we don't even have any proof of evidence of their truth. But we start to believe the stories because it's more comfortable to be in our own comfortable state of pain and misery than it is to do the uncomfortable thing and have that conversation. It's more comfortable to stay in our own pain than it is to take a different action that we wouldn't normally take because it's freaking scary. So then we're triggered, and then we eat the thing. We feel good for a little bit, and then afterwards we're like, damn it, why did I do that again? And then you're like, your brain's like, I just don't understand what's going on. But the truth is, you know the situations where you're triggered. So is it a specific time of day? Is it being around a certain person in your life? Is it going to a physical location? Is there a kind of environment that triggers you to take these steps or these kinds of actions? Is it when you look in the mirror and then you feel really upset with yourself because you didn't make different progress? You feel like you should be further in life. Maybe you get frustrated and stressed out when you look at your business as a whole and you're like, why isn't this working? Whatever it is, you're triggered. And you know what the triggers are. If you really just paused for a second and you got some clarity and you gave yourself some space to identify what the trigger is, can you give yourself some space in between the trigger and how you react to it? Thanks, Amy. I'm glad that I love that. Thank you. You guys, the change starts to happen when you have clarity around what is triggering you in the first place. You don't have to make changes if you don't want to, but you can regain some of your control, the control in your life, if you identify what the trigger is in the first place. If you identify the thing that's causing you to continuously have these cravings in the first place. Because if we go back to what we talked about 2 weeks ago and last week, 2 weeks ago we were talking about the pendulum, essentially, how there's the polarity of food, and it's not just about what you're eating, it's about your lifestyle choices. Are you somebody who's in a high stress job? Are you dealing with lots of stressful family dynamics? Do you have a lot of stressful things going on? Do you overwork your body? Are you somebody who doesn't sleep well? There's a whole slew of things. If you didn't catch that video, go back and check it out. I can drop the link below. But like we talked about that. Then in week 1, is there a life choice that you're making that is the trigger? And then last week, in week 2, we talked about balancing your blood sugar. Is it something that you're eating or not eating that's causing your blood sugar to drop low? So is it something that you are or are not putting in your body that's causing this, that's being the initial trigger for this, and then all these other behaviors are triggered thereafter? If we can get clarity on what it is that's causing these behaviors, then we can start to make changes around that. And like I said earlier, it is more comfortable to stay in this stuck state than it is to make changes, because when you make changes, your nervous system is going to spaz out. It's gonna be like, what is going on? I usually know if this situation happens, then I do this. If this situation happens, then I would do this. If this one situation happens and it's not like the other two, then I react this way, and this is what happens. You have proof and evidence that if you are triggered by this thing, this is how you respond to it. And usually it's such a habitual process that you don't even catch what's going on. You're just kind of there going through the motions of life, and you're never really curious about the things that are going on. You just notice that, dang, why is this happening again? I feel like I'm failing. Why can't I figure this out? I can't do this. What is it that's going on? I feel like I'm constantly in this space. Cool. You're constantly in this space. What is the space that you're constantly in? And are you in that space more often than you'd like to be? Okay, great. How do you want to be feeling instead? What outcomes would you like to be experiencing instead of this one? These are the kind of questions you can start asking yourself. It's not about beating yourself up and judging yourself and thinking you should be further along or you should have things figured out. That leads to guilt, that leads to shame, that leads to feeling not good enough. And cue our response to the trigger. Cue standing in front of the fridge, eating the pint of ice cream. Cue drinking another glass of wine when you get home, or you fill in the blank. This starts with being curious and not judging yourself. When you are constantly experiencing these things, thanks, Amy. When you're constantly experiencing these things, these are your patterns. And I've asked Amy this. I finally started catching on in my journey that, as Amy says, our patterns are our patterns. Because I remember when I would get frustrated, and I still get frustrated, I'm not going to lie. Our patterns are our patterns. And now, instead of getting upset or irritated or annoyed that a certain situation keeps coming up, instead of feeling like, gosh dang it, I didn't work through this, I thought I did all that work and I'm still here, instead of feeling like that, now it's like, ooh, this is exciting. What's on the other side of this? Because our patterns are our patterns. Our triggers may always be our triggers. It's just identifying it. It's like I was saying 2 weeks ago. Your body only knows how to get your attention in so many ways. It's like a baby. Our body, if we think of our body like a baby, it can't talk to us, but it can have temper tantrums. It can have anxiety and stress and our like physical symptoms, because it knows if we have these symptoms, then it's going to get our attention. And if we have our attention, if our body has our attention and we are listening to what it's trying to tell us, then we can figure out what's really going on. And instead of being upset with ourselves and thinking we should be further along, we can get excited when we have these triggers. What if you were excited when you had these things pop up, when you notice that, dang, that candy bar would be really great? No, what if you just listened and you're like, isn't that interesting? I'm having that feeling right now. I remember when I used to be here, these are the things that would happen afterwards. And you could see that on the other side of your building, of you building your intuition, you grew exponentially. All of these triggers, they're just the indicators that you're about to work through something epic. And it may not be epic in the sense of like world changing or like all this huge thing. It's like epic in the sense that you are about to make a positive change in your life, or any kind of change in your life. You're on to something, and it's just a matter of, oh my gosh, I'm actually catching this right now. I hear what you're saying. I have a chance to make a different choice now. So these moments are something to be excited about. So if you're noticing that you're in situations, or it seems like really really similar circumstances. I cannot find my words today. I was going to say this morning. It's my morning. If you're finding yourself in similar situations more often than you would like, get curious about it. What's going on? Is there something that you're not focusing on? And every time it occurs or the situation happens, instead of looking at it and facing the fear, you look over here. You're like, I'm not looking at this. I want to look over here. And you don't look at it. You don't address it. So then it keeps happening. And then the universe keeps trying to find different ways to get your attention. So of course it's going to keep happening. And you can choose to keep reacting the same way you have in the past, in complaining that nothing is changing, or you can finally freaking address it and look at it head on and decide to do something different. This is where courage comes in. You have to be brave and courageous to look at something because it's so uncomfortable sometimes. And I get it. It's hard. It is so hard to have these conversations with people, to do something in a different way when people expect you to do A, B, and C, and you're like, nope, I'm going to do like all these like H-I-J. I'm going over here. I'm going down this path. Because we've taught people that when we're triggered in this way, this is how we react. So that's what they learn to expect from us. And we have to retrain these people, reteach them, reteach ourselves that it's okay to react a different way. We have more choice than we think we do. You have more choice than you think you do. It's all about your perception. So instead of being triggered and being annoyed or irritated with yourself or thinking you should be further along or you're not good enough, instead of going down that rabbit hole, what if you just changed your perspective a little bit and you're like, isn't this interesting? This is happening. I must be onto something. I must be doing the work that the universe is about to give me everything I keep asking for, and I need to practice what I'm asking for. If I say I want to eat healthier, then wouldn't it make sense for the universe to grant me opportunities to practice eating healthier? Wouldn't it make sense for, if I say I want stronger personal boundaries, wouldn't it make sense for the universe to test me out and see if I'm really serious about what I'm saying I want, or do I just like the sound of it? And like I said, I'm not perfect. I do this. I still fall in this thing. I was just telling Amy last week, I've noticed this is my pattern when it comes to financial things and certain things with our finances. My husband and I were really good about talking about a plan. We're really good at making the plan, especially me, because I love planning things out. But when it comes to execute the plan, it's like, nope, we'll do it once or twice. And then something happens and it's like, nope, I'd rather have this thing over here. And then we get completely sidetracked. And it was the universe being like, hey, you say you want this. I'm going to give you these opportunities to distract you to see if you're really, truly ready to get what you're asking for, or if you need to keep working on it and you need to keep practicing. So I've been practicing a lot and I get frustrated. And then last week I had this conversation with Amy and I was like, oh my gosh, I get to reframe this and I get to choose my perspective and I get to see that it's all for me. And if I would have gotten what I'd been asking for before now, I wouldn't have been ready for it. And then I would have added something else to my list of the things that don't work in my life and I'd been so freaking frustrated. But that's okay, because frustration means that it gets our attention. We remember it. Let me read this. Your comment, Amy. Yes, excitement to notice the signals. Yes. I feel like we did like a freaking dance thing. I don't know what I'm thinking of. I have a song in my mind that's playing for that. So, if you find yourself in these situations, when it comes to how you are reacting, yes, dance ladies. if you find yourself in these situations more often than you would like, and you feel like you need this additional layer of support, of accountability, and you need some, like, a group or a person to help navigate you through that, then you should really, if you're not in my Happy Healthy Mom group, you should come hang out with us, because this is one of the things that we do in there. I give a lot more of the how pieces inside my Happy Healthy Mom group. And if you're wanting to truly immerse yourself into this kind of environment where you have the support and you have people who help you notice your triggers along the way so that you're not doing this on your own, and you have a supportive support system, then I would recommend you check out my Be Well with Becca membership. It's so much fun in there. It's not just fun. Fun is a cool part of it. It's the real, honest feedback. It's not something where you say you're gonna go get an accountability partner or create a support system and you all are on the same struggle bus. Because if you guys are all riding the same struggle bus, do you expect the person sitting next to you to have the answers to pull you through, to be able to ask you the right questions to pull you through? No, because you guys are all riding the same struggle bus. You need the driver. You gotta ask the driver, hey, which way are we going? Right? So that's one of the things I notice when people create their accountability systems or their support systems. They're all riding the same bus. Not one of the people in their support system has the results that they want. They think they have to have their support system be their family and their friends because that's who they're close with. And they feel like they're leaving people behind if they don't include them. But the truth is, you keep creating the same support system and it doesn't serve you. You start making progress and then you're trying to catch the people in the back of the bus. You're trying to get them to come sit up front with you so that you can be closer to the driver. And then you get frustrated because they all fall off track. They're all in the back of the bus having a good time, not paying attention, not listening, and they're not doing what they could be doing. They're choosing to stay where they're at. But you want to be behind the driver's seat. You want to be as close to the driver as you can so you can see where the path is going. So you know what to anticipate. So you know where to make certain changes or certain turns. So if you're ready for support with somebody who's just a couple steps ahead of you and can help you navigate the path, then come hang out in my Be Well with Becca membership. So it's exactly what we're doing. You're surrounded by people who are also wanting to change. They don't just like the sound of it. And then I'm driving the bus. I'm a good driver, I promise. My husband says I'm not, but we got this. Thank you, Amy. That was a good analogy, wasn't it? I agree with that. That's the first time that one just came through. Thank you. Yes, love your groups and your energy. Thank you so much. That means so much to me. So if you're ready for this kind of support, then I highly encourage the Be Well with Becca membership, because you guys are a member of Amy's fantastic group, and I am going to share this on my mom group. If you're in my mom group, you get $20 off for life, which means it's $77 a month. And we're doing, every single month, we have a different theme of the month. So there's a focus for it. So you know, so your brain, your lovely brain, knows exactly what's coming. It knows what to expect. November 1st is the first month. It's going to be all around navigating our sugar cravings and how to manage our blood sugar in a healthy way through the holidays, because it's time to eat. It's that time of the year. And then in December, we're looking at how to navigate stress and manage your emotions, because it's stressful. Not only is your schedule all over the place with the holiday season, not only are you probably spending all this money on Christmas and the holidays and you're around family, and if your family's anything like mine, I love them, but they're insane in a good way, and they stress me out even more. So December is going to be all around stress, managing our emotions. Thank you. And then January is going to be around creating realistic intentions for you, because January is New Year's. I hate New Year's resolutions. We'll talk all about that in the membership. But you can truly set yourself up not to fix anything because you're not broken, but so that you can make the progress you want and you have realistic expectations of yourself. Okay, so if those are the things you're ready for, then we're also going to be having all kinds of support and accountability steps and action plans along the way so that you keep making progress. There is no feeling overwhelmed when you put yourself in a container like this. There's no more feeling lost and you don't know what your next step is to take. There's no more trying to do it the way everybody else does because it should work. That's not what this is about. This is about, here are options for you to choose from. These are the paths that I have walked from my personal experience, and these are also the paths that I've helped clients walk through. One of these, because a lot of things are similar, they're not identical, but they're similar. One of these may or may not work for you. If something doesn't work, cool. We know that doesn't work, so let's try something else. Now we're one step closer to figuring out what is going to help you change. So if you want that kind of support and accountability, then come hang out with me in my Be Well with Becca membership. I will come back and drop the link below. If you have any questions about anything I talked about today, drop them in the comments. Next week, I'm going to come back and give specific, can't get my word out. Next week, I'm going to give specific solutions around sugar cravings. I've given you several throughout the last several weeks, but we're going to tie it all together, put a pretty bow on it. And of course, there's more than one I'm going to give you, but these are just the ones that I find the most useful. Okay. So I will drop the links. It has been 30 minutes. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. I appreciate you so much, and I will see you all next week. Bye.